What is happening, guys? Mike here. Welcome back to the channel for an all-new product review. Occasionally, when I'm doing reviews, I get ideas for different things. And you know, it's things like different angles, lighting, props, different things like that. Little things here and there to keep things exciting. I like to play around and input these ideas into my videos, you know, so things don't get boring for me. I'm not totally sure what really brought this on today, what I'm about to do in this video, and it's not that big a deal. I just, you know, going back and thinking about it, I kept thinking to myself, why did I do that? I don't really know. But nevertheless, I found myself looking around the house for something that was flammable. Now, don't try this at home, especially if you live in California. Seriously. Oh. Yeah. All right, guys, once again, welcome back to the channel. I am super excited to be back here with you guys. It has been a little while since we saw each other. Things have been pretty crazy for me here at home, but I am very excited to be back with you guys today for a brand new product review, and we are taking a look at a brand straight from Hong Kong today. It's so exciting to take a look at this brand because they are actually the only home brewer in Hong Kong, so I'm super stoked for this review. It's going to be pretty awesome, I think. But before we get into that, we do need to take a second and look at our submission for today's subscriber spotlight. Today, the spotlight is on Billy Pope and his textured quiff, courtesy of the Monarch Matte Paste as a pre and post styler. I do want to extend a big thank you to Billy for sending in that submission. I think your style is awesome. You guys already know that I am also a big fan of the Monarch Matte Paste. And if any of you guys want to try to achieve the same style that Billy got with the Monarch Matte Paste, you can use the channel's coupon codes on this product at both Blumon and Slick Hair Shop and save yourself a bit of money. For now, though, let's talk about our focus for today's video, which is, again, Hong Kong Homebrew. This is a brand that I found to be very interesting. Like I said, they're actually the only homebrewing outfit currently in Hong Kong, according to their brewer, which I think is very cool. We got all three of their products to look at today, some stuff that I think you guys are going to be very interested in. We got a clay, a pomade, and a texture spray. Coming across my desk today is 3 products from Hong Kong Homebrew. Let's kick things off with the styling clay. According to the brand, this is a water-soluble styling clay that features a firm hold and matte finish that is lightweight in the hair and made with all natural and organic ingredients. Scent and price-wise, we're looking at a smooth citrus scent, and for the price, we're looking at 240 Hong Kong dollars for a 4-ounce jar, which translates to about $30.64 in US dollars. Looking inside the jar, we got here a pretty standard-looking clay. Its texture is smooth but thick and turns nice and creamy as you break it down. It does have somewhat of a dry texture coming from that clay, and it's also only slightly sticky, as it gives us a preview of what's to come in styling. Next up, we got the pomade. Again, according to the brand, this is an unorthodox water-based pomade that offers a creamy, lightweight, firm hold with neutral shine and a smooth bay rum scent. It's also made like the clay with natural, healthy ingredients and comes in the same size 4-ounce jar for a slightly cheaper 220 Hong Kong dollars, which comes out to $28.09 US. Looking inside the jar on this one, we got a similar feel to the clay, actually, just without the clay, pretty much. It's not dry at all, but it's nice and slick, slightly thick, but still creamy with a nice and smooth breakdown as you get it into the hand. And lastly, we got the texture spray. This is another water-based formula that provides a lightweight medium hold with matte finish. The texture here does appear to come into this formula from sea salt as seen on the ingredients, and it comes in an 8.4-ounce bottle for 150 Hong Kong dollars, which comes out to $19.15 US. Whew, all right, well, That was exhausting. That's a lot of information to process, and we are not done yet. We still got to go ahead and put all 3 of these to the test today, and I thought that we might start with the pomade. I thought that was a good place to start. With this one, I did test it out multiple times, like I do with everything, and the very interesting thing for me when I tested it out was that there was one method of styling that became very clear to me as the way that it worked best in my hair, and of course, that was dry hair. I will, of course, explain that a little further after I show you the demo, of course, but for demo number 1, I used 3 scoops on dry hair. Yep, once again, that's freshly washed and completely blow-dried hair with 3 scoops worked in and ready to style. What I'm noticing here is, 1, the application is extremely smooth. It's going in without a problem, nice, creamy, everything that we like to see from a pomade. And 2, once it's applied, it also works very well with the comb. It's sculpting very easily, the hair is sticking together great, which really brings on some good volume and really a pretty good looking style. Now real quick before we jump into the endurance, I do want to draw your attention real quick to the finish of the hair in the dry hair test that I just showed you. When I applied it to my hair, I noticed a deep dampening effect that really almost made my hair look wet. And while in the capacity of dry hair styling this worked out great, in damp hair styling this really led to some issues. The main one for me was a severe lack in volume, styling ability, and hardening up, really. This is usually the case with damp hair. I do also know that some of you really just don't like to do dry hair, and I respect that, but it is my obligation to report what I see, and for me, dry hair worked out a lot better on this one. And I think it worked out better throughout the day as well. We can take a look at this here 4 hours in on our style, and it's still locked in and nicely sculpted. I think some volume and structure within the style has definitely been lost, but overall, it's pretty good. At 8 hours in, I think this is even more exaggerated with the loss of hold and volume. It's gone down for sure, but it's still intact, and with just a nice little run through with the comb, we can actually recover some of that style. Now with that recomb, we can recover some of the style and clean it back up a little bit, but we obviously didn't get that original volume back that we had in the beginning. But moving on now though to the clay. This one too became very clear to me when I was testing it out. It needs to be used in dry hair. Most of the reason behind that is the fact that it's a clay. I really hate using clays on damp hair unless I absolutely have to. I really think that you're kind of just taking the potential of the clay and just choking it out when you put it on towel dried hair or damp hair. So for this demo, again, we're rolling with 3 scoops on dry hair. Here we go again, same method, different product. And here, like I said in the spec section, this one here does have a similar consistency as the pomade, but with a slight dryness brought in by the clay. It's also a bit stickier, so applying it to the hair is fairly easy, not too hard really, but I do get a bit of resistance there while applying it. Once it's in there though, you can use your tools very easily to get that shape going without worrying about ripping a hair out. But also finger combing works so well here and actually doesn't make for any loss of volume, and as you can see here, there's some massive volume to be had here. Man, I tell you what, I was super impressed with the level of volume that I got during the initial style, but as we shift over to the endurance test, you know, we got to answer that question, does it last? And I'll go ahead and tell you I had to drop this endurance test down by half because it really started to evaporate rather quickly. Here's a look 2 hours in. Yes, 2 hours, because I've got a lot of movement in the style, which is why I decided to cut this one at 2 hours instead of 4. It's become loose, lightweight, more natural, which honestly is great for pretty much everything but the hold. Overall, it is lasting. It's not completely deflated, but it's not strong enough to keep my hair in the position that it was. This is definitely more natural and free-flowing, but it can still be manipulated with your finger or comb and reshaped into somewhat of a style. Last up here, we got the texture spray. As you guys know, I love me a good texture spray. They're usually right up my alley. The directions on this one was actually pretty straightforward. It's, you know, how I use every kind of texture spray. You just spray some in your damp hair and then you blow dry. That's very important. You got to use the blow dryer. I have seen some people air dry, but again, you don't get the same results. Let's just be honest. The blow dryer is a great tool for achieving volume, texture, everything that we love about styles that are produced with these kind of products. Giving you guys a look here, as I sprayed into my damp hair, I noticed one thing very quickly, and that it's not very sticky. I was expecting something a bit stickier, maybe even a little drier, but I did think perhaps maybe some would come out as the heat was applied. I've seen that in the past. But here, as I hit it with the hot air, I noticed really that the hold was barely even coming out. I used several sprays too, which was kind of odd. And to take that even further, I was very surprised to see that there's not really much texture there either. To be totally honest, I do think that it made my hair much more controlled than just standard dry hair that's completely untreated, but the texture and overall hold was very low. I gotta tell you, it just seemed to be that there was something going on with my hair and the spray. I could tell that it definitely wanted to work, and I became fully convinced actually that my hair type had to be kind of just impeding the product a little bit, giving it a little bit of a roadblock. Of course, that is good news for you guys with thin hair or fine hair. I think it definitely should add in great texture and volume for you guys with those hair types and give you something that you'll really benefit from. In regards to the washout, it's pretty easy. I found both washed out mostly with water. The clay definitely 100% came out just with water. It was super easy. The pomade, I think, still left a little bit of that dampness in the hair, but I think 95% probably came out with water. It really was no big deal, and of course on both shampoo, pulled them right out. No complaints really from me in that area. For the scent, I think that they actually did these rather well. I kind of like the, let's see, I kind of do like the pomade scent a little better than the clay scent, but they're both really lightweight, and that's something that I appreciate. And that goes for the texture spray as well. I actually could smell it a little bit when I started spraying it into my damp hair, but actually when I hit it with the blow dryer, the scent totally evaporated. So once again, no complaints from me in the scent department. Finally now, my final thoughts on these three products. When I was testing these, I kept pretty much having the same thought over and over in my mind, which was that these are made for people with fine hair. The pomade here though, I think is somewhat the same, except for that dampening effect. I think it does a bit better in taming thick hair. I do think though that the pomade overall lasted a lot better throughout the day than the clay, even though I really enjoyed the clay and texture spray. I just think that endurance-wise, there was a little issue there. I'd also like to point out that once again, we got some awesome packaging here. Did you guys take a look at this? Go back and look at the B-roll again if you didn't. I mean, seriously, they're just putting a lot of effort into their presentation. I'm seeing it with all these brands outside the United States. They got awesome boxes, jars, label design. I am a sucker for presentation. I think it's awesome. And on that note, just the presentation, I love it. I love the presentation. I mean, I saw some issues with the products, but I do love the presentation. That's really where I stand on this line. And if you guys want to check them out, of course, you can visit their site, which will be linked in the description. I think the price converted from Hong Kong dollars to US dollars was a bit high. I forgot to mention that. I do think that it's kind of a little bit on the high side. They are 4-ounce jars and an 8.4-ounce bottle in the case of the spray, but I did kind of think they were venturing onto the overpriced side, but I did also find out that these guys are available at the Slick Hair shop, and they happen to be running a sale on them right now too. So they're running them at 25% off. So you guys can check them out at a discount from that shop. And of course, my channel has a code for the Slick Hair shop. It's good site-wide. You can save yourself a little money on that front as well. Whew, all right, I'm getting sweaty. It's a long video. These studio lights are baking me, so I think we better close this out. That is it for today's review. I appreciate you guys stopping by today and checking these out with me. If you enjoyed what you saw here, make sure you tap that like button for me, and if you want to see more, that subscribe button there is the easiest way to do that. And I will of course be back with you guys again with some all new content very soon, and until then, you take it easy and I'll see you next time.